right, ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome. Super pumped to be here. You're listening to Honest to God on AM 1160 The Quest, Atlanta's Catholic Radio. This is a great episode today. So what's on your mind?
Oh, yeah, it's been a while since we've done a What's on Your Mind.
It has been a little while. I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
We actually had to put a pause on our pre-show conversation so that we could roll out a lot of those on What's on Your Mind. I think we've got a lot of stuff on our mind today.
Yeah.
So should be good. Before we get started, this episode of Honest to God is brought to you by the 1982 Argentinian junta, right? The dictators of Argentina in the early 80s. We're just supposed to read something about how the Falklands does not belong to the British. So that's
whatever that
not
means.
an official position of Honest to God or the Quest, Atlanta's Catholic Radio.
And if you watch Top Gun, you'll know the official views of Top Gear. Their official reviews on the Falkland Islands.
Oh,
that's a great episode.
I didn't know that. That's cool. Yeah. Well, apparently there's some guys from the 80s who are still sore about that, and so they sponsored this episode. So big shout out to the Argentinian junta.
Totally.
Thanks, guys, for the sponsorship. Nothing
They gave
else.
us $3.
Yeah,
That was
it's
their
really easy.
sponsorship.
If you want to sponsor this show for $3, shoot us up.
We'd
Shoot
love
us an
4.
email.
4 would be great.
We'll say pretty much anything.
4 makes you a platinum member, right?
Totally.
But yeah, so $3, that is the cost of sponsorship on this show. Be sure to shoot us a comment or send us a message.
Right.
Young adult at, what is it?
TheQuestAtlanta.com. Young adults.
Young adults. There's more than one of us.
Yep.
There's both myself and producer Ben.
And
who
at least
who
one other
stay
person
here
sometimes.
watching that email day in and day out. So yeah, shoot us an email over there. All right. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we got all returning veterans today. We got David.
What's up?
We got Hannah. We got Alicia. We got producer Ben.
Oh, yeah.
Always killing it. And to my right, may or may not be, Show Notes Benny. It's going to be a great show, regardless. So let's open up with a prayer. I'm not going to make you pray this time, though, Hannah.
Goodness, because I meant to get prepared and then I just totally spaced.
It's okay. So once again, it is a compliment that I always calling you to pray. And I feel like, did you pray last time, Alicia?
I think I've prayed once, yeah.
All right. David's never prayed.
Ooh.
Oh, looks like I'm a heathen.
So whenever you're ready, let's rock and roll. We got to start with prayer.
Let's redeem this.
Oh, yeah.
Start in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Come, Holy Spirit, and fill our conversation. Lord, as we come for this panel and this time of fellowship and community as young adults, as we just speak what's on our mind, help encourage us with the Holy Spirit to speak what is good, to speak things that are fruitful and productive in our life. Although they might be funny or playful, let them be good. Help us to stay on track. Help us to watch our time and make sure that we have good content, but also just things that need to be heard, things that are inspired by the Holy Spirit. And we ask this through your glory as we say glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit.
As it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, a world without end. Amen. That was really good. That was good, like from the heart, impromptu prayer. I really like that. I'm going to give it a 91. 91. That's not
91.
bad. That's not bad. Like for just totally off the cuff. That was killer. And I like what you said too about like it's gonna be fun, it's gonna be dumb, we're gonna say stupid stuff. These on your mind episodes kind of go all over the place, but let it be good, right? That's something I talk a lot with my own children about, but also with the high school, middle school guys that I work with a lot at my job is you can do so much stupid, fun stuff that's totally great if it's virtuous. I worry a whole lot more about the formation of souls, right, and their moral well-being than their physical well-being. I was talking with a group of kids today that a relative of yours might have been there, Hannah, and I was talking about my, I don't know if I've ever said this on the show, but it's a deeply held belief of mine that if women did not need men to exist, if they just budded off of one another every 15 years or so, just like another one like budded off or something, right? Then, and this is not an attack on any of the ladies here today or anyone listening, but they would have all been eaten by saber-toothed tigers 20,000 years ago, right? I think that would have happened, right? Nothing personal, but I just feel like that would have happened, right?
I 100% take umbrage.
And that's fair. Well, we can dig into that in a minute. But if only all men budded off of one another and did not need women, we would still be living exactly like we were 20,000 years ago, right? we never would have tried to develop beyond fire, and we would be dying by, and a kid really cleverly raised their hand and said, but Mr. Spain, if there weren't women, then we would be sinless, throwing some shade at Eve, And I said, okay, first of all, I'm not going to grant that. But even if that were true, he said, like, there would be no death, right? I said, we would still die in droves because we would say things like, Erg can jump across big cliff. Gerg died. Gerg not as tough as Erg. And then his friends would like egg him on and he would die. And they would just do that over and over and over again because there would be nothing to temper that just aggression and foolhardiness and all of these things because there was nothing more important to live for without the ladies. We never would have built civilization. So thanks, ladies.
You're very
Comment
welcome.
below if you believe that or not.
What do you believe?
Yeah, y'all would have done amazing things before that saber-tooth tiger came around. You would have. It would have been great. I'm not saying that you're incapable of fighting off a saber-tooth tiger. I just think consistently over 20,000 years. Yeah, it's nothing personal.
I feel like we might have had like a smaller. I feel like the civilization would have still been around. We just would not have ventured out very much. We would have our set little place with our little walls. Okay. And our little civilization.
Until the saber-tooth tiger came knocking.
It'd be homey.
Well,
I'm sorry. Maybe not. Maybe not.
I don't know. Well, this is a debate. I guess not.
That's what we're doing.
Like
this entire episode of Honest to God is debating whether or not women would have all been eaten by saber-tooth tigers if there were
and whether or not men would have advanced past preschool level.
No, they would have gotten to like
kindergarten.
No, like even worse. That would be better. I'm gonna say like 12-year-old boy, like which is objectively a worse place to stay the rest of your life than a 5-year-old. I have a 5-year-old. I have an 11-year-old, and if you gave me the option of living as one forever, I would totally pick the 5-year-old.
Honestly, the man that you just pictured, that just reminds me of my brother William. Love you, Will, but that's in essence a lot of what he is running around proving he's the toughest guy in the world.
Is he 12 years old?
No, he's 8.
Oh, okay, good. I thought you were going to say he's 24.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
We should stop talking about that.
Well, the problem is there are 24-year-old men that do act like this. It's horrible.
And once again, though, I think it's because they don't have
women.
Well, yeah, they don't have good women in their lives. They don't have good men in their lives. They don't have anything that they're ordering all of these destructive characteristics towards, right? Masculinity is a very good thing, but it needs to be directed. And ladies, thanks for that. We appreciate that.
Nice.
It's almost like we're designed to complement one another. Weird.
Love a good compliment.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I didn't mean to go down that rabbit hole, but we can do it.
There we went.
Any other saber-tooth tiger hot takes?
I think it's like a saber-tooth hole. But I don't. About saber-tooth tigers?
Yeah, or anything. But it doesn't have to be saber-tooth.
You're going prehistoric. Before this, we were talking about mammoths, and now we're on a saber-tooth tiger.
From saber-tooth tigers.
What other part of Ice Age are we talking
Harvard,
about?
segue. Let's see where you're going with this.
I want to hear
Great.
it.
So the Nashville Predators are a hockey team. Their mascot is a saber-tooth tiger.
Nice.
I don't know. I would love to talk about professional sports and the impact and how healthy is what's healthy and what's not. Boom. That's a segue in your face, Hannah. I don't really care if we talk about that at all.
I was saying that in a purely complimentary way. I was like waiting and ready to see what you were going to do with it. It was not a challenge.
Yeah, well, I do have
but
a
I'm glad
in
you took it as one because
in
then
true
you,
masculine and passion, he took it as a challenge.
Exactly. And I won.
again, showing that masculine side there.
I was going to go. I don't think we're... Did the hot sauce episode ever make it to air? Is that ever going to be aired?
The what?
Probably not. It went off the rails.
It did go off the rails.
And by no fault of like any one person. I think it...
No, it was me and Madeline's fault.
Yeah, okay. That's exactly what I was about to say.
Yeah.
Not to throw shade at you
we're
and
just gonna blame it
Madeline.
on
Yeah, it was me and Madeline's fault.
Because she's not here.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I'm here. I'm happy to blame it on myself. Yeah.
But you're blaming it on Madeline.
Yeah, it's her fault too. Yeah, both and. Teamwork makes the dream work.
Okay. So you're accepting part of it.
Boudreaux, if you were there,
Oh, it would have been a 70-30
there.
split. It probably would have been my fault.
You got a competitive
70%.
oh, that's
competitive
not
issue?
even what I was saying.
What?
You got a competition issue? A little over competitive? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I definitely have a competitive issue. I mean, I am a man, by the way. Yeah.
Wait, what?
We have a competitive
I am
issue.
a woman, by the way. For any of our viewers
We
that
are
were
just
wondering.
this is an age of confusion. Maybe we should just go ahead and state our
Sorry.
our
Yeah,
gender assigned at birth.
Ooh, is that going to get out?
Yeah.
Ginger.
Ben, for the last time, that's not a gender.
No, we said gender, not ginger.
Oh, you said gender.
Not
Okay.
a level of how ginger you are, because I'm like a level maybe 2.
I don't know what I
What?
am. The beard's rocking a
No,
little
it's
red.
not a
You got a
color,
little bit of
it's
red
a
there.
personality.
Yeah.
I didn't know we had a level of. I thought you had.
It's
to be
out of 15,
ginger
by the
to
way.
be put on the ginger personality spectrum.
No.
I'm going to talk to the resident ginger here.
I'm sorry. I'm lost about what's the conversation going on that side of the
On a
He
table.
said he's a
scale
level
from
2
1
ginger.
to ginger,
I don't know
I'm
what's
a 2.
happening.
On a scale from 1 to ginger,
And
you're
I
a
said
2.
what?
In terms of like, what are the the parameters here we're judging?
Oh,
So you just think all gingers
I
all
don't
go
want
to the
to
same.
finish that thought.
You know, David, I think if you had red hair, you'd know that it's very offensive what you just said. That you're classifying. who
But that's
I
why I'm a
out of
2. If I
numerical
was ginger,
scale.
if I was like up towards the 15, then I would know how offensive this
Oh,
is.
okay,
But
cool. Okay, then
I don't.
I
You
think
see
I
what's
can
going on?
speak for honest to God and the entire crew here at AM 1160 The Quest Atlanta's Catholic Radio when I say that we're not big fans of ascribing like genetic dispositions to anything about personality traits.
Yeah, it has
Mine's
nothing
the
to do.
M1R gene.
Oh, that's a good one. That's
The
like
ginger gene.
yeah.
Oh.
You have a increased tolerance for pain too, right? Isn't that a thing?
Really?
And a resistance to like anti.
Yeah, to like painkillers and alcohol
See?
and
I didn't make that up.
It's
Whoa.
weird. Opposite with sunshine though. That's
Very
kind of
allergic to that.
Yeah, very allergic to that. Skin
Wait,
cancer is a big thing in the ginger community. So
Ginger.
Interesting.
there's dozens of us, John.
You know, there's
Oh,
a
I know.
ginger convention.
Oh yeah, I want to go very badly,
Dude.
because it'd be the only crowd I could actually get lost in.
Oh, you're
Yeah.
right. That's fair.
I love this.
I've seen pictures of like the big like get together over
Yeah.
it's in Scotland or Ireland or somewhere over there, and it's
Somewhere where a lot of gingers preside.
it is overwhelming to see like a ton of people with red hair. I think it's neat just because it's not that common.
Do you think you could
Yeah.
get away with it?
Me? I couldn't do it because up here is so not.
Yeah,
red.
you're not ginger.
Yeah, it's
But I mean,
like-
you got the ginger. A
My
little
hair's
bit of
like
ginger.
your hair color.
Oh,
Up
that's
here,
not
but
ginger.
then my beard is a different color entirely. It's weird.
Yeah, as a ginger, it's an odd thing to be ginger. Like everyone that I see doesn't have my color hair, and then I just look at myself. I'm like, whoa.
But sometimes you see
color.
your own kind.
Yeah.
right?
And then we bond. I actually, this is weird. I met a dude like a year and a half ago, but I re-met him yesterday, who he's a ginger, whose name is Ben, who is also Catholic and 20 years old and does photography.
No.
We're like
that's cool.
almost the same person,
That's
aside
really
from
cool.
like our face and personality. Yeah.
In the Jet Li movie, The One, he has to travel between dimensions, killing different versions of himself, and it makes him stronger every time.
Maybe
I think you need to be more careful the next time you meet this Ben guy.
Maybe.
So I don't want to talk about this anymore.
Cool.
That was amazing.
I don't know. I am curious because I like these episodes because of how sort of freewheeling they are, and I don't feel the pressure to sort of always bring stuff back to the topic. But there's a lot going on in the world right now, and I don't know. Any thoughts? Anybody want to jump in? I don't know when this is going to be airing. Maybe we should think about future events that we think are going to happen and see if they're topical at the time it actually goes to the radio. But I don't know. What are your thoughts, Hannah?
What are my thoughts? I have so many. Let's see. One, which I kind of touched on last time, and I just feel like it's just something we can all talk on, is the young adult culture nowadays and how that looks. And I feel like in some cases, at least in my circles, it's over talked. But I feel like there's a lot of people who probably just they don't feel a sense of belonging. They don't feel like they can find a good relationship. Yep. They feel awkward in their workplaces, especially if they are Catholic, just because of what normal conversation is now.
Yeah,
so
that's fair.
I think that would be an interesting thing to talk about.
I would love to dig into it. I saw something somebody posted the other day that a friend of mine screenshotted and sent to me, and it said, "Millennials who got married 10 years ago or whatever, does it feel kind of like you caught the last chopper out of Nam?" It was just talking about the dating culture and everything and how weird it is. So yeah, we can get into that all day long. And it does, by the way, it does kind of. I don't even know how people do this anymore.
I have a friend. So I'm not going to say names, but
no names. Let's call him David.
I was with his wife the other day, and I was just helping her with her new baby, and we were having a grand old time. And she's a young wife. She's like 22. I want to say 20. Yeah, I think around that age. And they love them, beautiful little family. And she was like saying how she doesn't know how she would do it if she wasn't married, and how she has no good man to recommend to me. And I was like, yeah, that tends to be the norm.
And I would say on both ends of the spectrum, right? You have just the vast majority of these sort of culturalist, secular, empty people who are struggling with porn addiction and bad mindsets and 100 things. But then you also have, and we talked about this not too long ago, I think while you were on the show, about the other end of the spectrum where you have a lot of these like super prideful, narcissistic
Zealot
guys who are like, they're passionate about their faith, but they take it in a really weird direction that's super off-putting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What do you think, Madeline?
I'm going to be honest. I kind of zoned out there for a second. I kind of forgot what we were talking about. Do you mind?
She was really quiet over there.
And also, I apologize. It was super rude of me to ignore you throughout the whole first 15 minutes until right
I
now.
didn't even get an introduction or anything.
Yeah, it's great to see you.
Yeah,
Good to see you too, John Henry.
No, we're talking about
Sorry.
we're talking about dating in the 21st century as like a Gen Z human, and what all that entails, and the struggles and frustrations and pitfalls of that.
I'm not quite sure what was said already, but
Nothing. We just brought it up. So the floor is yours.
Oh,
Yeah.
good stuff. I kind of think the idea of dating has been very distorted in today's society. It's I don't know. I personally don't have a lot of experience, and also I have been off the media for like 2 years now.
Like social media and everything.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah,
Isn't
so
that
I'm
just the most
not-
freeing thing in the world?
It really is.
Yeah.
And it's like once you get off, I don't miss it at all. But
Oh, and this is a good segue. Sorry, real quick. Make sure that you follow me and like on Instagram and Snapchat and Twitter and TikTok. And no, I don't have any of those. I don't have any of those. I had a Facebook because I'm a 47-year-old white woman, but I got rid of that. That's not true. I'm neither 47 nor a woman.
it's weird. I had a Facebook one time too.
John
I'm sort of
Henry is
pink.
what?
Yeah, I had a MySpace a long time ago.
Oh,
Ooh.
it was in your
All right,
time.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
You're totally derailing this. It's getting
Yeah,
good,
no,
man.
you go for it. Go for it. Now.
Golly.
Dang, I'm not. I don't really know how to like completely answer this and like something that makes sense. But I don't know. I just feel like I'm gonna be honest. Actually, I don't really know how to answer this.
That's
let
awesome.
me form my thoughts
No,
and then
you
come
do
back
it.
to
Alicia
me.
has really
Yeah.
good thoughts. I can tell.
Yeah.
She's got. I have good thought face.
As probably the only millennial on this panel, I'm just going to say that I feel like the approach to dating is so different. Like, we don't look at it as a partnership anymore. I think it's more of like, what can you do for me? What can you do for me? And not like, what can I do for you? There's this lack of service in dating now.
Sure,
Like,
totally.
you're not looking for that. I hate how people use the word partner.
Mm-hmm.
Not that it's not a thing, but there's so much more to relationships than just partnership.
Right.
And I feel like too often we've truncated and we've just like cut things off where you don't get the fluidity of relationships anymore.
Sure.
And so because of that, and because we don't really know how to have relationships, and B, they don't have the same weight or importance anymore like our screens do. And I won't even get into the whole online dating thing, but because of that, like we just don't know how to talk to each other. Like, if I were to go on a date and to sit with someone, if there were any bit of silence, it would probably be seen as like, we're not clicking, we're not jiving, whatever the phrases are nowadays.
Right.
Like, and so, but there's no understanding of like, sometimes there's something to be said about how well can you sit with someone.
Sure. Yeah, I
We
like
just
that.
don't know.
Oh, 100%. This doesn't necessarily go off what you're saying, but in a previous episode, which you guys should go watch, How to Heal from a Broken Heart, which hasn't come out yet, but will soon.
Yeah, find another device, stream that one while you're streaming this one, and then flip flop.
Obviously.
There you go. Mhm.
Like on both devices from different accounts. Make a new YouTube account.
We talked about there was one of the individuals on the podcast talked about like when you have parents who have struggles and stuff, how that can affect you in your own life. And I think that's so I think this generation, Gen Z, our parents came from the stage where you still were kind of in that process, which isn't a bad thing, of like you get married and people put it under the umbrella of like societal, like what it is. For a lot of people, you know, it like there's a lot of really great marriages that came out of it, but I think a lot of them were very surface level. It's when like sex before marriage started becoming a lot more popular, when birth control started becoming a lot more popular.
Are you talking about like sort of baby boomer generation? Is that what you're...
right under them, but yes.
What, Gen X?
right.
Gen X?
Yeah,
Okay.
Gen X.
Sure.
And so I think I know so many kids my age who have not bad relationships necessarily with either of their parents, but a bad relationship with how they see their parents together.
With the idea of their parents.
Yeah,
marriage.
like either they had parents who like they never saw them kiss, never saw them say I love you, like their parents never went out on dates because it was a purely like marriage was a very contractual thing.
It was a business partnership where you're in the business of raising children, which is gross.
Or they
Yeah.
saw them fight. And that obviously has a lot of traumatic things. And I I just know so many kids like that. And I think that's trickled down to this sense of like, people need to realize that damage happens. It's not something that we need to dwell on, but it's something that needs to be talked about and something that needs to be understood because it is affecting these kids in their, they make it up like, oh, I don't want to have kids because of this, and I just want to be a free spirit, and I just want to be this. When really, I think a lot of it is you have a lack of religion, and when you don't have something that is eternal and something that's everlasting to fall back on, what's the next thing you're going to look towards? Your parents, and that is not eternal. That's not everlasting. So. Yeah,
totally. What are you going to say, David?
I was going to say, it seems like there's just a lack of a sense of identity in humans, and especially within our generation, that has come forth from exactly what you said, right? Parents that did not know and did not seek a way to form their kids well, whether it was their fault or just the way they were raised or the formation that they got, and vice versa. But for us, even, it's like, I'd say Gen Z is just like this seeking to find identity in like anything except themselves. And it's
and anything except the things that humans have found identity in since humans existed.
Right. And it's getting ridiculous. It is getting so ridiculous. But on a brighter note of things, like I finally went on like a first date on Friday.
Do you want to tell us all about your first date immortalized on the internet right now?
It was great.
Here for that.
But it was a first date, and it went as a first date should, where it's like you're asking good questions. You spent time, like you said. There were times where we just like sat in silence looking at a waterfall, and it was just like super cool to just like sit there with another person. And then you're asking like practical questions over dinner, like, you know, in a fun way, in a good way. You know, you're asking, you know, not lame questions like, where do you see yourself in 20 years or whatever, like, or 5 years? Like, no, it's more so like, what do you want to do with your degree? What's your favorite thing to do in the morning? Do you like coffee? You know, like stuff like that. And it felt so fun and so joy filled. And at the end of it, you know, we left with like, there was no like contract there. There was no getting in the business of, well, maybe I'll think about a second date, or like, no, we left. And after the fact, we're like, you know what? Like, we enjoyed the friendship, but we didn't see a romantic side of it. I'm like, dude, I'm excited to be a friend with this person.
Right.
You know, in the weirdest way, I'm so excited to be in the friend zone. Like, no, but it was a good date, and I have yet to hear other people have that experience with first dates or dates in general.
What is the experience you're hearing other people have?
I heard one last night of this person that got asked out on a date by this frat dude, and he essentially ghosted her while he was there. Like, he was in person, but wouldn't ask any questions that were meaningful. Seemed to always talk about himself, about the boys, about the time he went to the bar and did this thing, and this like college career that amounts to nothing because he's probably pretty lame. He's probably only known for drinking beer on the back of a truck.
Right.
And it just seemed like, man, the more that this girl talked about this guy, I kind of wanted to find him and like sit him down. Maybe not sit him down, but I wanted to fight this dude. I don't even know him, but it just pained me to hear her because she's like, I wanted a good date, and this dude just dropped the ball.
Well, I know the majority of our listeners are men because we can see the schematics. Isn't that right, Producer Ben?
It's fairly 50-50, but it leans more towards men.
Okay. So, yeah, maybe a slight majority of our viewers are men. And I've said this before on the show, and I cannot emphasize this enough. Guys, there's so many crappy dudes that the bar is so incredibly low. Congratulations. All you have to do is not be a narcissistic, self-obsessed loser, right? Who's like avoid a porn addiction and care about being a decent man. And the field is pretty open for us. It's a lot harder for girls. As a guy who has 4 daughters, right? I worry so much about my daughters finding guys because I see so many more, and I'm harder on guys in general, but I see so many more wonderful young women who are striving towards virtue, who are just sort of lost and frustrated by this total lack of guys who are trying to run the race with them.
And going into like, okay, so with pornography, like that's something the numbers are staggering.
Oh my goodness,
and you're starting to see it climb in women too. They were, I feel like, a little misrepresented in the beginning of not having that issue at all because it's not like as much of a mental thing for them
sure,
as it is a societal thing. But like my thing is, I don't expect a lot of men I've met to not have had that issue, but be open to working with it.
Right.
I would 1,000%, as awkward as it is for you to, maybe not on the first date or third date or anything like that, but like if we're in a relationship, as awkward as it is for you, tell me. Like, tell me, because that's not something, like, that's something I need to know if I'm going to be in a relationship with you. And it's not something I want, like, there can be a good shame about it, but I'm not going to be shaming you because it's something I know a lot of people who struggled with it. But I just feel like we need to talk about that because it affects you so much. Like, Lee and I, okay, this is not necessarily related to this, but I had this crazy idea. Let me not put her on this. So there's a adult store that we drive past every single day home from school.
Which is the worst name for those stores, by the way?
It's called Starship.
It's
and
more of a childish
it's like, it looks
store.
like a Toys R Us logo. It's disgusting. And we both follow this company called Fight the New Drug.
Yeah.
And it has like the porn kills love shirts, all that stuff. I can't tell you how many times I've thought, like, people stand outside of like abortion clinics all the time. Why?
Just had this conversation. You're so right. Sorry.
I want to buy a bunch of those shirts and just stand outside and not like be doing nothing crazy, not be like, you know, hating on anyone in there, but just having those shirts on and selling shirts like that, like Fight the New Drug, people aren't products. Like, it's, you deserve better than pornography.
Right.
I want to sit out there and have
to both
this
the men
conversation.
and the women, for the record.
100%.
Right.
Because women are so sexualized because of this.
Yes.
And now we're constantly, and it's not all men's fault, but I feel like a lot of women feel that way because man really created that porn industry because they were the business people in power then, and they knew what would get people.
Right.
So now women are constantly fighting this sexual image that was put on them, and they blame all men for it, and it just creates another.
Yeah, and you also have women who are saying, I have to sacrifice my own dignity and lower myself down because the expectation from all of these, from 98% or whatever of guys who've got these porn addicted brains, right? The expectation is this fake artificial thing that spits in the face of everything that love and our sexuality was created for.
It's like, if I don't do this, I won't be loved.
Exactly. I have to do this. I don't want to do this. And I guarantee you there's not a single girl out there who's like really dreams of that. So one of the things that I say, and I've got all these girls at home and it hits me hard all the time, is that every time you see I think about it when I see the billboards on the highway that are advertising the adult stores, and there's some scantily clad girl or something on there. I think she was 7 years old in a princess dress one time, right? And she just wanted to be told that she was good enough and loved. And
Ooh, you're gonna make me cry.
Y'all,
There's a Colin Ray song called "I Think About You."
Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh. And he talks about like the billboards and like women being prostitutes. And he's like, I think about you with your blue eyes and blonde hair. And I'm like, every time I hear that song, it just hits a little different when I'm riding down the road. Yeah.
It's like the song where it's like, it's like, and I'll Dance with Cinderella. It's a Taylor Swift song, I'm pretty sure. Talking about that, like, at one point, they just wanted to be like loved by their dad. And then they grew up and they just wanted to have a relationship. And now you can't go anywhere without worrying. Like, I can't tell you how many times I put on an outfit. I'm like, is this too showy?
Right.
Or vice versa. Am I ashamed? Am I trying to hide something that I don't realize? That should not be an ordeal that has to be happening before the mirror every single time you go out.
Yeah. So I want to pick up where we left off before we took the break, because we were getting into some deep stuff. And once again, that's why I really like these What's on Your Mind episodes, because you can kind of go all these different paths. And I'm happy to add my voice to the chorus of billions of people over the course of human history who have said the generation currently is bad. Things were better when I was a kid. Things are less good now. It's their fault. It's the young folks, right? We literally have quotes from ancient Greeks, right, talking about how the next generation is totally morally bankrupt and ruining everything, right? And that's not to say that I don't kind of believe that, like that we're in a really bad spot. But we can all sit here and diagnose. We're really good at diagnosing. We diagnose a lot on the show. But can we talk about solutions? Do we just sort of wallow in like this miserable culture we've created, or do we solve it? The answer is obviously we try to solve it, but how?
I love it.
Do you have something to say, Madeline? You don't?
Okay.
Yeah.
I do. In relation, I want to hop on back what Hannah was saying, just kind of about the image that's put out about, like, in the stores about women and stuff like that. And I also, like, I want to, like, not only tap into, like, the image that's being put out, but also the image that women are putting out about themselves as well. And I've seen like friends grow up and like the way they dress is very provocative because that's just what the new trend is, or like that's what kind of like is labeled as okay, or it's like my body, I get to do whatever I want with it. I can show as much as I want. I can dress how I want. And it's like,
it offends you, that's your problem.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's something that like
relativism.
That drives me insane. And I kind of going like way back to oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. What is your name?
Alicia.
I knew it started with an A. I was like, all I could think was Allison, and I was like, I know it's not Allison. Back to what Alicia was saying about like partnership and like how like the relationships aren't to like today as what they could be or what they're supposed to be. And I think that kind of hinders that as well, because I think you're like, oh, like somebody's gazing at me. What are you doing? Like, why are you doing that? Like, don't look at me like that. But it's just like, it's like driving past a car crash kind of thing, like that kind of thing. It's just like you can't help but look because it's there, it's put out there.
I've gotten "what are you looking at" before from people. One time from somebody with a face tattoo. It's like, you know what I'm looking at. You wanted me to look at your face. Like, exactly. You got a tattoo on your face. What are you talking about?
And it's just like how people portray themselves. Like the other day, I was watching this video, and it was I believe it was like a model or something like that, but she was like really tall, and she was like, y'all, I found some pants that can fit me. And she was showing pants, and then she just changed right there in front of the camera, and like underwear and all. And I was like, what? Like, this is not okay. And I was like scrolling through the comments, and somebody was like, I missed when people didn't change in front of the camera.
Whoa,
and,
cool.
And I was like, that's so true. Like, I feel like not like stuff like that, like media has just made it so easy with like lives and videos and everything like that it's just like somebody puts it out there, it's out there. And it's like
the fact that is allowed on a public platform.
That's what I'm saying. And it's just like that has completely, it's like that has made it to where especially like young kids are like getting on like all kinds of like social platforms and streaming platforms and stuff nowadays. And it's like they're like being kind of taught that's okay, that's normal.
Well, and it's not just the physical stuff either. Obviously, that's a big issue, a girl taking her clothes off on camera, right?
Yeah.
Obviously. But it's modesty, not just in our physicality, but modesty in general, right? If we're going to define modesty, and I forget whose definition this is, but I've always really liked this definition of modesty as keeping private that which should be kept private. It goes way beyond just showing parts of your body that should be kept private. I mean, it goes into opinions, it goes into emotions, it goes into all of these things, and everything we do, what we're encouraged to put out there to make it a consumable thing, right? Because technology has gotten to the point where that's an option now, and it's really gross. I really think it's dehumanizing in a lot of ways.
Well, I think it's more of a cause of the individualistic culture that we have, right? So what I do with myself has no effect on you. And that's absolutely false, because by virtue of the fact that we're human, we're made for relationship. And so if we're friends, right, what I do has a direct effect on you, whether you see it or not. And if you see it, I would argue it has a greater effect on you, right? And so when you take apart that relationality of the human person, you lose sight of everything. And everything, it's like, it doesn't matter, it doesn't affect you. And it's like, no, actually it does. And this is how we got into this situation. So to go back to like, how do we make, or what's a good solution?
Yeah.
I think the first thing that we do is realize that I have a claim on you and you have a claim on me.
Sure.
Yeah. Right? Like that's just a fact. Like full stop, period, end of story. And so everything that I do, everything that I say is absolutely of the utmost importance, because it does affect you. It's going to affect how you interact with someone else. Like I'm part of the youth group at my parish, and I tell the kids all the time, I was like, what you choose to do and what you choose to say has a direct effect on somebody's son or daughter, somebody's brother or sister, somebody's future husband or wife, and somebody's future mother and father. You don't understand the depth or the gravity of what it is that you're doing and saying. And you need to realize that from now on. And so your life you need to order your life in that direction.
Yeah. And basically you need to check yourself, because like, tell me, you could be any type of person. I've seen this at any friend group. No one likes when somebody is saying like, oh, like I really want to buy this dress, but like I have no money in my bank account, blah, blah, blah. And the friend's like, okay, well, how about we go for the shoes you want instead, because it's less, and we can think about the dress later. Can you imagine if the friend was like, I didn't want your opinion there, and you guys were friends? Like, that you would automatically feel so hurt, and you would feel like your friendship was invalidated, and you would feel like your opinion doesn't matter. So just because, actually not just because, it's on something as important as like sex, how you view your body, like what birth control does to you, why would that not be even more promoted to be talked about? Because it's more important than, oh, maybe you shouldn't text him back. Like, but tell me if I told you, no, I don't want to hear your opinion after I just was complaining about something or just was struggling with someone, you would not give it to me? Right. Or would you give me your opinion?
You're saying even on something minuscule like that. Yeah.
Right. I blame it on the Enlightenment.
I literally wrote down Enlightenment underline right here because before the show you wanted to talk about the Enlightenment, and once again we are diagnosing. I don't feel like right now, but
we can get a solution. Let's get a solution.
No. I want to hear your thoughts on the Enlightenment, because I also have very strong opinions on the Enlightenment, to the point that I don't even like the fact that we call it the Enlightenment.
Exactly. Oh man, it comes from this whole idea of just like individuals are now able to essentially predestine their future, right? You are able to choose your future for yourself by your source of knowledge and how much you know and what you're allowed to receive and own and buy. And then you get into all the theories of like John Locke, where it's like you have the rights to property and what is it? Gosh, I'm losing it.
Do you want me to just quote John Locke?
Yeah. Let's quote John Locke real quick.
Life, liberty, and property.
Yeah, I hate it.
You hate life, liberty, and property?
Yeah. So
okay. No, let's flush that out.
You want to go with this? So.
It's a hot take.
It's a very hot take.
Those are three things that a lot of people really like.
Life, liberty, and property. I think they're amazing on their own, and they're great to see. Like, okay, wow, like look at this. Like someone has a right to that. Well, you don't have a right to a property if it's just going to please yourself. If you're not going to use it for a family, then don't use it at all.
Okay.
You don't have a right to life if you're not going to use it for the good of another, or to, no greater love than this than to have to lay your life down for another. Right? Know how to serve. Right. On both sides of the spectrum, like men and women. What do you say? Life, liberty, liberty. I have a big problem with that because now.
I don't think you're saying you have a problem with the concept of liberty. I think you're saying you have a problem with the way that liberty
how it was taken,
right?
Because it's this freedom to do anything, and it's like freedom to do what is good for you, freedom to do what you feel is good. And yeah, initially that's not how that was written, and that's not how it was taken. And you see that, our great Constitution, takes that with life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, right? And even that pursuit of happiness now tempts men to have like my own happiness, my own truth, my own, this, that, how can I do this through my own life, my own property, my own liberty and all this freedoms. And they take what is good, and you see how it's like slowly skewing over history. I mean, you had this revival that went on before the Revolution of what they said was the Protestant revival, and all these, hey, you have the ability to interpret the Bible on your own. And if you have a better idea than your pastor, then go make a church. There was a pastor that was going around and preaching this idea of, if you got a better idea of how the Bible works, don't question it. Just go make your own church. And then now
which is the logical progression of Protestantism, obviously, right?
Right. And individualism, and and then it gets into existentialism of, this is my church, this is who I am. And then you get these people that no longer value church. You get people that no longer value their faith as it applies to others as the family of faith. It's no, it's just my faith. It's just me and God. There's no one bigger than me. There's nothing out there. And then you get people out there that just fall off the track into this, it's just self-absorbed existential crisis of now it's like, I am God.
Right. No, and I don't think that I disagree with you now that you fleshed it out a little bit. But what I would say maybe is life, liberty, and happiness, or life, liberty, and property are innate goods as long as you understand what they're for. And by what they're for, what I really mean, as long as you understand what you're for. Right. I think we do have rights innate to our being, right, by virtue of our humanity, right, that exist. But you're right; those rights, when they become, and I'll say this, right, we've been sort of beating around this bush for a long time. When we couple those with sort of our Protestant post-Enlightenment founding fathers of the country and sort of their philosophy that they have been inculcated in, right? I can see how the end result is this hyper-atomized individualism. I mean, even something like capitalism to its fullest extent is a literal heresy, pure capitalism, right? Because what it does is it says the individual and your ability to produce and consume, that's what gives you value. And that's nonsense. And I mean, it seems like a lame place to land on this, but really, all of this is an issue once we remove the church from it and our understanding of who we are as sons and daughters of our Creator. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to say, I see what you're saying. I don't necessarily agree with it. I fall a little bit more in line with what John Henry said, whereas I think we need that just as the innate, like, what gives, like, the value. Like, obviously, if you're talking from a theological standpoint, I see what you're saying. But from a practical standpoint,
Right.
I feel like we need that life, liberty, right to property to live as a society. But what I thought was an interesting argument, kind of going off what you're saying, love our Protestant brothers and sisters daily. I think
Absolutely.
what they bring to the Bible, like we've always said, Catholics aren't great about reading the Bible.
Right.
I mean, we have it in every Mass.
Mhm.
So we do. But, we're not great at, like, pulling a random verse out.
Yes.
But one thing that somebody said, which I thought was so interesting, they're like, can you imagine if we took the Constitution and gave a copy of it to each individual American citizen and said, here's the Constitution.
Whoa, cool.
Do what
Sure.
it says.
Yeah.
Anarchy.
Right.
Off the bat.
We all interpret it differently.
Oh,
because-
yeah. You could take those and see it as any way you want. Really, you can take that. I have the right to bear arms and be like, okay, if I have the right to bear arms, I'm allowed to have my property, like, surrounded by explosives, have a tank in my backyard, and if I have the right to bear arms, I have the right to take those arms and do what I want.
I think if I have the right to bear arms, I have a right to the bear that comes with those arms.
Exactly.
Yes.
I would love a bear.
Black or brown?
Yeah.
Oh, grizzly all the way.
No, see, those are too big. I like black bears, like giant raccoons. They're like
Yeah.
kind of fun. Neat. Yeah, no, I agree with you. Okay,
They're
sorry.
kinda
So
fun till
you
they
finish your metaphor.
Yes.
No, I was just
love
gonna say I just think that's a great argument because that falls in line. Like, when you give somebody a word, I mean, you give somebody even just one phrase, you can read it so many different ways.
Right. And
that's true of the Constitution. That's true of media. That's true of and that's true of the Bible.
Yes, absolutely. The whole issue with Sola Scriptura comes down to a couple of things, and I mean, feel free to clip this and see if we can get some rage
I
comments.
think this may be like our second or third Sola Scriptura clip.
Is it?
If we do it.
I have
yeah.
a lot. I mean, I have lots of thoughts, right?
Yeah,
But it's a philosophically bankrupt idea because number one, it doesn't say that in the Bible, right? It doesn't say Sola Scriptura in the Bible, and number two, just because even if it did, right, a book claiming to be a holy book does not make that book a holy book, right? The Bible did not fall down from the clouds. Jesus Christ did not ascend into heaven, grab the Bible, bring it back down, and hand it to the apostles, right? The Bible came from the church, the Roman Catholic Church. The Catholic Church determined which books were and were not canon, right? That's where the Bible came from. And so if you're a Protestant, right, if you're saying that the Bible and the Bible alone is the source and summit of truth, then you're lending credence to the church's authority to determine what is and is not canon.
Scott Hahn's book,
Heck yeah.
Road
Sweet Home.
Yeah, Rome Sweet Home. I read it after it was mentioned on the podcast. His
It's really good.
argument for it and how he goes through how the verses in the Bible that really back up that church needs to be one of the legs in that faith stool
Right.
was phenomenal.
Yes.
Like, I almost wish I could have it be a prerequisite before I argue with somebody. They can give me any book they want, but
They read Rome Sweet Home.
they read that and I'll read whatever book they want me to read and then we can have a conversation. I just wish I could.
No,
do that.
seriously, just as a thought experiment, though, or just to be interesting, right? If you have a family member, if you have a friend who's interested in learning about the faith or who thinks that you're ridiculous for converting or something like that, have them read Rome Sweet Home. It is a fantastic book. It was huge in my own conversion. I got to hang out. I got to bro out with Scott Hahn over the summer. I was up in Steubenville, and he was at a party where I was, and I totally I tried so hard not to obnoxiously fanboy over him, but I would rather meet Scott Hahn than any celebrity or anything.
Totally.
It was so cool. He was a solid guy, and I wish I had thought, can you sign something for me? I would have run into the house and found a book, stolen a book from my friend, get it signed, and then apologize to my friend later for taking his book.
Not to monopolize the conversation, but something I thought was so interesting in the book was hearing Kimberly's perspective and how, okay, I've always known that the Catholic Church has not been a favorite, all that kind of stuff. You see it in a lot of religions. If there's something that you shouldn't be doing in that religion and someone else does it, they are immediately canceled by the media. But if it's taking something Catholic, like a rosary, and doing something inappropriate with it. No one wants to say anything about it besides Catholics. So seeing Kimberly's, how just the idea of being Catholic hurt her so much was so interesting to me.
Yeah.
And it reminds me of a shirt idea I had. I told you in a previous episode, Leah and I have a Catholic shirt notes where we just put Catholic shirt ideas.
Awesome.
And one of them was that I wanted to do is Jesus said that we would be hated for our faith. What do you think of the Catholic Church?
Cool. That is a good one.
Ooh.
Nice. Really good.
Well, to tie this all back
Oh, yeah.
to the Enlightenment.
Enlightenment Martin Luther in 1517 starts a Protestant revolution that eventually results in the Enlightenment, that eventually results
in the
in our sexual, sexual, but
revolution,
secular modernist culture we live in today.
Yeah, there we go. No, but so we have these great things though that I think the positive end of these, like we talked about, like the rights and the progression that we've gone to, is that if you remove that the basis at the end of the day is the individual, and you now add in what the church champions, which is the lowest, the best thing that you should be championing is the family, right? If you put that in instead, now everything can be sanctified.
It's rightly ordered.
Everything is rightly ordered, right? Yeah. Now you can appreciate the pursuit of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, because the father does things for the good of the family, provides for the family. The mother is able to raise these children and grow and homemake and and even pursue her own career, I would say, as a mother, in her life. And then the children are able to thrive under that family. Well, and the family is rightly ordered.
Totally. And to tie it all back to where we were at the beginning of once we got back from break, the family being destroyed in the last 50 years, I think, is a huge piece of why we are where we are right now. Right?
Satan hates the family.
Even families that are together are destroyed oftentimes and improperly ordered, with fathers and mothers who don't understand their roles, and children who are not honoring their parents and don't feel like they have any reason to honor their parents. There's no inculcation of values. How do we solve it? Go. We still haven't solved it. You have to solve it. We're going to solve it. We've got like 7 minutes left. Solve the crisis of Western civilization.
Are you a son? Be a good son. Are you a daughter? Be a good daughter. Are your parents not worth being, not good parents? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, right? This is a commandment. Honor your father and mother. It doesn't matter if you have great parents or the worst parents in the world. You have a duty to be a son or daughter to them and to do it well. So if you're a young adult, that means, unfortunately, the things that weren't given to you, the graces that you didn't receive from having a solid family, you're going to have to fight for. Right. And that makes it so much more worth fighting for, because now you get to make it eventually yours so that you can bring onto your family and grow a beautiful family with a husband and wife and your kids and be the solution that we're looking for, which is good husbands, good wives, good sons and daughters. And if you're called to the religious life, priests that understand the value of the church, that have a focus and understand the needs of their churches, of their flock. Because that's the other thing, right? Sorry, the religious aren't excused from this.
Yes.
Priests that don't understand their flock and don't understand the needs of the flock are crippling. They're crippling our church. They're crippling society. And even when you have women that aren't that don't have that confidence to go and pursue that religious life. I think there's so many women that are scared off by the thought of religious life. And even I was talking to someone, life in a cloister. That's a scary thought. Right. It's a super scary. And same thing with guys. It's a scary thought to go the religious route. But no, take it on. Try it out. If it doesn't work, okay, cool. But discern well, right? Yeah. Our life is a life of discernment. And if you don't know how to discern, first and foremost, find a priest. Find a good priest. Find a good father. Find a good teacher, whatever that looks like, and just learn how to think about the route that your life's going down.
I'm a pro, not at anything. I'm a pro at stealing the great ideas and great habits of other people and incorporating them into myself, right? That's the only thing I'm really good at in life, right? I don't have really good ideas. I don't make really good decisions. But I see people who are joyful and living the way that I want to live, and I just desperately attach myself to them. I latch myself to their masks and hold on tight. That was masts, not masks. We're not big fans of masking here on Honest to God.
That's actually, that was one of the two things that I was going to say. It was surround yourself with people who bring you higher. And I will say one thing, going back to what you said about like even if like you do have a rough relationship with your parents or with your family, like yes, don't give up on it. Still be like an honorable daughter or son, and like honor your parents and like call them up or visit. But I'm gonna be honest, that's not an easy thing to do. It's not. Right. It's so hard. It's so much easier said than done. But it's so hard to like muster up that energy to just go and visit sometimes. So, but like one thing is to do is like find family and the people around you. And it's like friends are your chosen family. And I think one thing is like find someone, a couple from your church or whatever that portrays really good like partnership and marriage life, and like take some notes from them, have dinner with them several times a month or something like that. And it's like use that as an example. You don't like, you can still honor your parents without having to be with them all the time or like follow the same suits that they did. And then that goes for also like siblings and cousins and relatives as well. I think you can like find that in the community around you, because also I think it's like you have like the personality of like the top 5 people you spend the most time with or something like that.
That is a quote that I stole from someone a lot smarter than me. Yes, you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time around.
It's not lame.
And it's so true. Also, another thing I want to say is like going back to like the solution is like how one of the is like, don't live your life for yourself. Offer it up for other people. Like that's
we never find joy.
Exactly. We weren't made to live by ourselves. We weren't made to like survive on our own. We were made to be in community and like support each other. Like where one falls, like another picks it up, kind of thing. But yeah.
I was gonna say, so one thing I would highly suggest to anyone is, okay, like phones have crippled our society a lot.
100%.
In the sense that if I'm upset, I can retreat, and even if I'm in a room with other people, to being on my phone to stabilize my mood so I can be good enough to be back in that society again. I will say, when you live with your family, no matter how great your family is, there's things that are going to happen that are going to affect you. You're going to have bad habits. You're going to have bad conversational abilities in certain areas, just because all families can lack in some way or another. Living with somebody this past like however long, 8-9 months, I don't know, has taught me so much more about how I need to love and how I need to be loved than I feel like my however long I've been with my family, because when you're with your family, you forget those kind of things because it's all natural. But being with her, like my roommate who I live with, I realized how some things I snap, and it's like it's not me trying to be mean, but it's because I haven't formed myself there yet.
Yeah.
And you realize that when you spend time with people and don't use your phone as a cop-out, or don't use your phone or anything that you can use to escape from reality with as a cop-out. Have those unfiltered conversations with people when you are at your lowest, because that's really when you're going to have the most growth. And secondly, even if you might be called to be a priest, might be called to be a nun, even if you think you might be called to not be married and just have a life of service but not be a nun or a priest, live your life as if you're preparing to be in a relationship with somebody. And I know that sounds weird because it's like work on yourself, but no, like I need to like live my life as if I could be worrying about, somebody else's needs and being attentive to that, as if I had a flock that I'm supposed to be shepherding, as if I had children or I might have children that I need to take care of, or a husband that might need me to sometimes give 80 while he gives 20, or someone that I can be prepared to let myself sit back and give 20 while he gives 80. So that would be my 2 things I would say.
That's awesome. Do you have any closing thoughts, Alicia?
Yeah, I would just say know yourself, right? Do you know what you actually think about certain situations? Do you know what you think about yourself? Are you okay with like sitting with yourself in silence? Those things are really important, just so that you actually know yourself, because through that you come to see what your weaknesses are, even if nobody ever voices them. So like I know when I'm being impatient with someone, even if nobody else notices. And that's not to brag on myself, but like that's an intentional thing that I've done, because that's what helps me. Because even though like people, don't have great relationships or whatever, these are opportunities for you to learn how to not love people. And sometimes we look at things and we're like, oh, this bad thing is happening to me. yes, this bad thing may have happened, but I'm learning how to do something better so that nobody else has to deal with what I've dealt with. And just in the kind of in the vein of like talking about discernment, I'm just going to throw this out there because I don't know if you guys have talked about this yet, but there's a movie coming out November 2nd. It's a one-time event, 7 p.m. The movie is called Free, and it's a video that follows cloistered religious.
Whoa.
And it's like interview and all that jazz, but November, it's through Fathom Events, but look it up. It like
FREE,
people who,
free?
Free.
We'll put it in the show notes.
People who never talk actually talk in this movie. And I've heard like raving reviews about it, and I'm super pumped about it. So if you've ever thought about any sort of like vocation, if you've ever thought about living, you should probably go see this
If
movie.
you've never been a person who is alive,
Well, if you haven't seen this
Pulse.
movie and visit a monastery, visit a Carmel. They are open to visit.
no, seriously. My sister-in-law, who I know I've talked about multiple times before, is a sister, and one of the most joyous people I've ever met. And she would have said, "No way would I even consider this." About a year before she entered, it's been 7 years. She's taking final vows soon, and we're going up
amen.
there. So. All right, we're going to do a lightning round of loaded questions, Junior.
Oh, yeah.
I'll even start to give everybody a
go
brief
right
moment
ahead.
to breathe.
How do I do this?
Okay, I hate this one because these questions are dumb. The one, what's your least favorite thing to eat? Like, I don't know, a burrito full of human teeth. That's why I don't like that, right? Like, what am I supposed to say? I guess
There's
they
so
mean
many
what food-
horrible things out there.
Yeah, I think they probably mean what food that normal humans eat am I disgusted by? Ooh, I don't know. Sorry, I know it's a lightning round.
Mine's avocado.
No, that's a weird
sad.
take.
You don't
Oh my
like
gosh.
avocado.
Oh, Watergate salad, like the
What?
the green. Yeah, it's like
Like the government
Watergate
claims?
salad.
I know what Watergate is, but
Is it watercress salad?
I think it's
Oh,
Okay, sorry.
watercress, yeah.
Sorry.
he's confusing politics and vegetables.
Yeah, sorry. Ever since the Argentine junta sponsored the episode, I've been thinking about 70s, 80s era
VeggieTales
political
takes
stuff.
on
Yeah.
Watergate.
Yeah. All right, Mal, what you got?
If you could take a field trip anywhere, where would you choose? I would go to Iceland.
Ooh.
They got really cool waterfalls. So
Yeah, and hot tubs in the snow that are natural.
yeah,
That's cool.
exactly.
Nice.
That'd
Is it any of these I can ask?
Yeah.
Yep.
What is something that would totally surprise you?
Human teeth in a burrito.
The Spanish Inquisition.
That's good. No one expects it. That's what I've heard.
What is the coolest thing you've ever done? Okay, obviously I could do the cop-out answer, which is also the true answer, which is receive the Eucharist.
That is the right
Amen.
answer.
Yes,
Yeah, super cool.
but since everyone knows that's the correct answer, I'm gonna say when I did a cross-country road trip from coast to coast, and living out of a van with Madeline and 3 other people
Yeah.
for a little bit more than 2 weeks, and
super cool.
drove through 17 states, stopped in 11.
Super cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Amen.
That is super cool. All right, Alicia, what you got?
What frightens you? Walking into a large room full of people and having to like start a conversation.
Oh, whoa, really?
You're in youth ministry? Oh boy. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I would like that
Oh,
way
don't
too
apologize.
much and bother everyone in the entire room.
I'm an introvert,
That's fair.
Oh.
so it's like
The right answer for what frightens you, though, was a burrito full of human teeth.
yes.
Like
I'm
you-
sorry, it totally slipped my mind.
That would be worse, though, right?
We talked about this. I'm so sorry I dropped the ball.
All right, Ben.
All right, mine is if you could have any pet, what would you
A
choose?
burrito. No.
I was about to say a burrito with human teeth. No, I've always wanted a ferret as a pet
Yo,
because I feel
that's
like
dope.
ferrets are really cool. Like I ferret sat one time for
Heck yeah.
my neighbor, who their family had a ferret named Fergie the ferret, and the funniest thing about it is that it had a stash of water bottles, like plastic water bottles that had been crumpled up, that the owner, it was their son, would just drink water bottles and then throw them on the floor. Fergie would then grab it and then pull it under the bed. And so if you look under the bed, there's like hundreds
That are Fergie's water bottles.
that are Fergie's water bottles, and it was just the best.
That's neat.
Ferrets
All
are
right.
cool.
All right, and with Fergie the ferret, we're going to end. We're way out of time, guys. Thanks so
Amen.
much for being here, y'all. This has been a blast. Let's do it again sometime. This has been a special episode of What's on Your Mind. I've really enjoyed it. Thanks, everybody in the room. Thank you, producer Ben.
You're very welcome,
Showing us
Jonathan.
Benny, whether you're there or not. We appreciate your service. And everybody else, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. You're listening to AM 1160 The Quest, Atlanta's Catholic radio. Has been honest to God. Producer Ben,
Signing off.
over and out.
Hello, this is Madeline, and on this episode of Honest to God, we talk about what's on our minds, from the ginger scale to how to break out of our culture's current monotony. This is a jam-packed episode, and we're glad to have you. Thanks for listening and enjoy the show.